Hey guys, welcome back. Just a quick mention that you guys really didn't enjoy last week's video, which is a shame, but you have to trust the process as this is a series of videos, it's not just a one-off. That being said, this week's won't be the most exciting either. However, I know that when I buy something new, I like to familiarize myself with it as best as possible, at least to a point where I know enough and then the rest I can learn along the way. So this week we're going to be going over the Sony a6400 camera settings and setup as a quick guide for beginners. I know most of you are probably drone pilots or in the FPV community. However, I do assume that some of you do have an interest in photography as well and have some sort of camera. Just think of this as a series of videos where each week I cover a different topic with this camera. If you're new, hello, my name is Demetrios and I create videos on drones, photography and everything in between, and it's a mix of entertaining and educational content. Subscribe to stay up to date. Now let's take a look at the Sony a6400. So here we have the Sony a6400 with the 18 to 135mm kit lens. For the beginners, how do you remove the lens? There is a lock mechanism just here. All you have to do is just hold that down, twist and pull apart, and then you can change lenses. In order to put it back on, make sure the two white dots are aligned. You literally put it on and then twist and it is now locked. That's not going anywhere. You have the hood lens here. I just do this for storage, but all you have to do here is line up the red marks, twist, locks, and that's not going anywhere. And you can still access the lens cap as well. So let's look at the overview for the buttons here. So you have your on and off switch and your shutter release. You have your C customizable button 1. You have your mode dials here, which you can change the different modes. You have your aperture or shutter priority wheel. You can just about see it because I have the small rig cold shoe relocate mounted on here, but this is the button for that. You have your cold shoe mount here, which you can just take off and you can mount things onto this. I tend to just leave this because that's why I have the cold shoe mount. You have your eyepiece here, which is removable. And then you have your dial here, which you can adjust the diopter whenever you look through the eyepiece. On this side of the camera here, you can see we have a little flap where if I open it up, you have your mini HDMI, USB-C and audio jack in. The bottom of the camera, you have a 1/4" screw hole, and I currently have my Peak Design clip here. That's pretty much always on. You also have your battery compartment, which you just flip open. To release the battery, you just have to push the blue lever to one side, pull the battery out. The battery only goes one way, so make sure you put the battery in correctly. And then your SD card is also situated here. You just have to push in, bring the SD card out, and make sure it goes one way, so the pins will be facing towards us right now, and you just push this back in. Let's just cover this side quickly. We have a record button here for video. I hardly use this, but it's nice that it's there. You also have your flip up screen. You can also lift it up, so if you were to do a vlog, you can see yourself with the vlog, and that's pretty much it. Normally when I'm shooting, I would just have the screen like this or like this. That's pretty much it with the screen. Back at the camera, as you can see, we have a flash here. So if I click on this, it just pops up. Cute little flash. Again, I hardly use flash photography. It's not really my thing, but it's just another form of photography. Normally people buy a separate flash and then mount it on here, which will work with the camera. So we have the menu button where you access the menu, and this also is the back button. You have your auto and manual focus and auto exposure lock. And then you have your back button focus here, or you can customize this. It's also for zooming in. Your function button here, which you can access your function menu, which I'll show you in a moment. You then have your scroll wheel with a push button here. And then depending where you are within the camera, so if you are in photo mode or shooting mode, you can change the display. You can adjust your ISO, you can adjust your exposure metering, and then your drive modes. And then underneath that, you have your play button to review your photos, customizable button 2, and it's also used not only to delete photos, but as a help menu. So if you're stuck on what a specific item means, normally you tap this and it will give you a hint at what it does. And that's pretty much the overview of the Sony a6400 here. So if you're someone that just literally wants to go out and shoot and have fun, put it on auto, and that's pretty much it. There is 2 modes within auto. To access the different menus, if you go to the function button and then you click on the bottom right here, you can change between superior auto or just intelligent auto. It doesn't really matter which one if you're going to be shooting in auto. And then I would say make sure you're in JPEG mode as well. Scroll to the very first folder here, and then where it says file format, just change it to JPEG and then you're good to go. Okay, so just a quick review of the mode dial here. You have auto, program, which I never use again. You have aperture priority, which adjusts the aperture, and then the camera adjusts the shutter and ISO. You have shutter priority, where you adjust the shutter speed, and then the camera adjusts the aperture and ISO. This is full manual mode, so this is where you want to take full control of the camera and adjust all the settings. This is memory recall. I think we're going to be covering this in future videos because even I don't know how this works yet because the Sony menu system is not the best. This is the video mode for the camera. Slow and quick. So normally if you want to be recording at higher frame rates like 120 FPS, this is the mode you used. This is panorama mode, where you can take panoramas with the Sony a6400. Again, we'll cover that in a separate video. You have scene selection, which may be useful. So when you put it into scene mode, you can use the scroll wheel here to change the scenes. As you can see in the top left of this here, the scenes are changing. In order to see those scenes, if you just click on the function button, and then again on the bottom right of the function screen, now you can see what these scenes are. So you've got the different various scenarios like sunset, night, handheld twilight, night portrait, anti-motion blur, portrait mode again. Apologies for the exposure there. Oops. There we go. Sports action, macro, landscape, and we're back at sunset again. So that's what the scene mode does. And we're back at auto. So in order to access the menu, you just click on the menu button here. And this isn't the most intuitive menu system, so it does take a while to get used to. But at the top, you have like your categories here. So you got 1, movie mode, network mode, playback, setup, and then your favorites menu. I do recommend once you start learning the camera, anything you use regularly to put into your favorites menus. Obviously, I got 2 pages worth here. And this is adjustable, so anything you want to access quickly, just put it in your favorites, because trying to find it within this menu system is awful. So, and once you're within one of these topics, you then have like 14 pages within this. You have 9 pages here, 2 pages, 3 pages, 7 pages, and then this is obviously however many shortcuts you have, it will add to it. But in order to access the rest, just press right, and then you can see you can access the different areas of the camera. So for instance, if you wanted to know what this meant and what this actually does, if you press the trash can icon, it actually tells you what this does. So selects the focus method. So again, if I click into this, and I can select whether I want single focus, autofocus, focus continuous. Again, it really depends on the type of photo that you are taking. If you just click on the trash can again, it actually tells you what this is. And if I click the menu button to go back, we'll just go to another one. So we just click AF Illuminator. What does this do? Again, click the trash can icon. It actually tells you what it does. So using the trash can icon within the menu does help you. And what I'll do is I also link in the description box down below Sony's online manual, where if you needed to find something, you could be able to do a search and find it there, and then it will point you in the right direction where to find it within the camera. Now, as an example, if I was in aperture priority mode here and I wanted to quickly access functions, so for instance, I want to change the display. If I just press up, this changes the display menu of the camera, and you have several of them here. So if we just cycle through, and you have a lot of information. So with auto white balance, your metering mode, your drive mode, we just keep cycling through. So that's more of a cleaner one if you want something clean. This is your histogram. I tend to shoot like this because I like to know whether my photo is straight or not. So for instance, if I tilt it, you can see when it's green, it means it's straight. and when it's not aligned, it's going orange. And it works the same if it was in vertical modes. So if I would tilt the camera this way, you can see it's green again. I tend to shoot like this. Again, it's down to a preference. There is no right or wrong here on how someone shoots. If we click on the ISO onto the right, now you can select a set ISO. So if you're shooting in the day, just set it to 100 or whatever specific number you would like. Or you can put it to auto ISO, and then if you click to the right of this, you can then set your minimum and maximum ISO. So normally if I shoot during the day and there's enough light, I tend to do 1 to 800. Those are giving me the best results. Depending on the lens and low light, I might increase this to 1600, 3200, or 6400, again, depending on the lens and the scenario. And then the camera will just adjust the ISO depending on the aperture and the shutter speed. Now, the exposure metering, if I press down on the scroll wheel, this is where you can adjust your exposure value here. I normally just keep this in the middle. However, Simon D'Entremont has made a video on this, so I will link that in the description box below explaining that. He's done a very good video on this. Now, for the drive modes, again, if you press left, here you can access your drive modes. So you have single shooting, this is continuous shooting, and if you use the scroll wheel to go left or right, you can change it whether you want it medium, low, high plus, or high. If I'm doing panning photography, I would have it at high or high plus. Single shutter timer, so if you're doing night photography with light streaks, you might want to have this on a shutter so there is no, it mitigates camera shake. And again, you're just using the left and right, you can change how long you want the camera to count down before it takes a photo. Self timer continuous, you got bracketing exposure. Again, these are all topics that we can just talk about in future videos. Single bracket, white balance bracket, and so on. Again, if you're stuck, you want to know what this does, you just click on one of these and click the trash can, and then it will tell you what this does. And then just click the center button for OK, and then the menu button to exit. So that is how this scroll wheel works. And then you have the function button here. If you click on the function button, it brings up this mini menu, which you can customize as well. Here I have my grid lines, my focus mode, focus area, exposure composition, your ISO, your metering mode. This is grayed out because obviously it depends on the mode that you're in, but if you're in movie mode, you can adjust this. Your file format, so again, if you wanted to adjust your file format, you can adjust it within function mode. Your creative styles, this is almost like Fuji's, I cannot remember what they're called, Fuji film recipes in a way, but we can cover that in a future video as well because I want to know if these are actually any good. White balance, then your flash composition. I don't know why that's even there because I don't use flash photography, but I left it there. And then you have one right in the corner, which is flash mode, but again, I'm not using that. If I pop this up, does it make a difference? No, because I'm on silent shooting mode, so it actually tells you, which is great. So just a quick run through of the menu of how I've set my camera up. If we go right to the beginning, so we have here file format. I tend to shoot mostly in RAW because I like to edit my photos, but if you're shooting in JPEG, these are my settings here. Interval shooting is if you want to do time lapses. Again, it has to be another video topic. AF illuminator, if you want to use this, you can turn it off or leave it on auto. Face eye detection set, so I have mine on and it's set for human right now. I had left this for auto. Here, exposure setup, so this is if you're using bracketing. This is the exposure lock, so this button up here, if you had it to here, what actually happens. This is to do with flash, again, don't really use that. Your white balance, this is where you can set your white balance depending on the scenario. I've just left mine to auto. Peaking mode, so if you wanted a manual focus, you have peaking, so you can pick the color and the level. This is mainly for video modes. So as you can see here, I mainly film my YouTube videos in 1080p, but at the 50 megabits. So it's the higher rate here. So it's more information. You can film at 60 if you wish. S and Q settings, so slow and quick. I tend to shoot silent mode because I don't like the noise of the shutter, but if I turn this off and then we go back and if I click the shutter button, you can hear the noise there. But if I turn that off and then click the shutter button, there's no noise. Be careful because there is a difference here when using the shutter versus silent shooting. we can cover this in another video. So this is your display button, what it does. Now here's where you can adjust your custom keys, so C1 and C2 for photo, video, and in playback. You can set that. Your function menu, this is this button here, so this is where you can customize this. Your dials, you can customize what your dials do, and your dial wheel setup. So this page here might be the most useful too. Again, more customizable functions here. This is where you can set up your camera to send to smartphone. We can create a separate video to this. 5 of 7 under the setup menu. Here is where you can change like your language, date and time, area, copyright info, and this is where you can format your camera. You can set a file name and a specific folders to record. I don't really change these. You can reset your settings here. And this is where you can check the version of the camera. This is the latest version. This camera has been out for a while now and there hasn't been a newer firmware update. And that is a quick run through of the menu system. So for instance, I'm in aperture priority. How do I adjust the aperture? Depending on how you set your camera out, as default, you could just use the scroll wheel and it will adjust the aperture of the camera. And then you can see that the shutter speed at the bottom here was automatically adjusted depending on your aperture and your ISO. So if I put this to ISO 100, for instance, you can see how much time is needed in order to capture that photo. This wheel at the top will also adjust your aperture as default. However, I've changed mine for exposure composition. If I go to shutter priority, here is when I can adjust the shutter speed of the camera, and then the aperture is automatically adjusted. So you can see here, the longer I need, the smaller the aperture. Now, if we're in manual mode, the scroll wheel here will adjust the shutter speed, and this wheel here will adjust the aperture. And then you can see your metering mode, we're very underexposed here. So we'd want to get that to 0. If it's flashing, it means you have a very underexposed image. So let's open up the aperture as much as possible and let's release this. So there we go. Now we have a good exposed photo, but it's very slow shutter at 1/5. But we can compensate by adding more ISO. If I put this to auto ISO, probably increase the shutter speed now to 1/60. But now you can see we're using 1600 ISO in order to get a proper exposure. So now that we've covered the basics with the Sony a6400, I'm hoping that the next video will actually be more entertaining, where we're actually going to go do a POV photography walk, because apparently that's what YouTube has been telling me that you guys want. If there's anything you want to learn about the Sony a6400, put a comment in the section down below. Also, are you looking to buy a camera? And is the Sony a6400 on your shortlist? Subscribe for more videos on drones, photography, and everything in between. And YouTube recommends you watch this video next. See you next week. Peace.